What's up, everyone? Today with FC110, which I'm doing a video on with a switch replacement, and I discovered there's little to no compression. So we're going to see what the outcome of this is. And the switch is done, but basically, let me show you. These I should have to hold down pretty hard for me to even pull over like this, and I'm not. This is a 4-mix. What that means is they've made it run on 2-cycle fuel with a valve system, so it kind of runs more like a 4-cycle engine. I'm hoping it's the valves. If it's not, there's really not a whole lot else, with the exception of piston, rings, and cylinder, and none of those are easy or inexpensive. So let's go ahead and look at the valves first. In order to do the valves, this one isn't very convenient like some of the other ones. Some actually just have this little cover on the top you can remove. This one you need to remove this whole orange cover. There's a couple screws holding it in place. I'm going to go ahead and remove that, and we'll take a look at the valves. Here we are. We are able to get to the valves. There we go. A little persuasion. Put that in place where it's not going to get dirty. Obviously the plug is disconnected. Let's take a look together, shall we? So right now that valve is being compressed, so that means the other one should be completely open. Now if you're going to buy the tool from Stihl, you're going to get two things. You're going to get a 4/1000 feeler gauge. Some people say 3. I've never bought it, but I like the idea of 4 because I read a lot, and they usually end up mentioning 4. It's definitely a little tight. I mean, now that's kind of working its way in there. It's not horrible. What I did is I got these smaller feeler gauges and I just cut the side off. It fits in there pretty good. So I don't suspect that being too much of a problem. But to be honest, I would say most of the time it's going to be this one. That one has a little play though. That's not very good. Yeah, that's not good at all. No bueno. I mean, that, if anything, it might need to be tightened. To tighten it, you just take a 5/16 or 8mm and you just tighten this nut. The smallest amount will change the clearance quite drastically. I think that was too much. There we go. Sometimes what ends up happening is if they get too tight over time, they will keep the valve open. I think that's pretty good right there. I think our next step is I'm going to take because I mean, if you look at this, it's pretty dry in there. It's not that good. I'm going to take a little oil, and I'm going to dump some in there, and then I'm going to, hopefully that will kind of loosen things up. I use a little WD-40. What I'm hoping is that it hasn't been used in such a long time that the rings are just stuck. Since we can't look at the piston very easily, at least, I'm hoping that this is going to help a little bit. We potentially might even be able to put a little fuel or something down the plug hole. While we talk, let's put this back on, and then give it a pull. That might get us kind of in the realm of having just enough compression, if possible, to kind of get a jump start. And then just because we are now semi running, maybe that will be just enough to kind of brush the cobwebs off, so to speak. I'm going to take a towel and put it right there. I'm just going to pull on it. That's to catch all the WD. Whoops. It's definitely getting a little more free. Let's pull on it very slowly. Really hoping this is the problem. I do not want to have to explain why to the owner. Well, I'm gonna put the cover back on, and then we'll put a little fuel down there, and we'll see what happens. The likelihood of us fouling this plug is a little high. I'm gonna put a little bit of non-chlorinated brake cleaner in there, because we put oil in there. That's why we might foul it. But let me grab this. But at least we have freshly adjusted valves. Didn't have to really adjust much of anything, but let's give it a try. I'm gonna hold down full throttle. Switch when I turn it off. But let's see how much compression I get now. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. That was definitely what ends up happening. So this is best case scenario in my opinion. Excuse me. We didn't have a scored piston. We didn't have anything with the exception of having to do a little extra work. We found out that it was just fuel or something, maybe oil, compresses the rings, It doesn't allow them to really expand, kind of just hold, well, it doesn't compress, it just kind of holds them in place. A little oil, a little fuel, a little jolt of actual running will kind of help free everything up real quick, and that's what happened. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this run a little longer. Make sure you have good fuel in there, of course. But other than that, don't always condemn it. It could very well be something simple like this. A little oil down the cylinder, if it hasn't been used for a really long time, can help lubricate and free things up. If you ever are about to do a compression test, you're going to want to do it when it's dry, if you think it's a compression issue, because if you put oil down there and then you try this and it does not work, and then you do a compression test, you now have a wet compression test. So if you are assuming this is not going to be your problem, but maybe you assume there's or you know there was straight fuel in there, don't put oil immediately. Make sure you do a dry compression test first and see if you even should continue. Then you could do a wet compression test and see what the difference is. There'll be a big difference if there's like a very large amount of wear. And if you have a very large amount of wear, or you're getting vastly different numbers with a wet and dry compression test, you could still do this. And maybe it's exactly the same thing. I'm sure if we did the compression test earlier, it'd be a lot lower. And right now it's a lot higher. So ideally, I should have just done a compression test. That's what I'm trying to get at. But this worked. I'm going to stop babbling. You have a good rest of your day. Subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101. I'll catch you on the next video. You have a good day. Good things, bad things happened. Good thing is, I now know it should shut off. Bad thing is, this switch is not the right one. So, the part number I gave earlier is incorrect. This is the reason why. A while ago, so I have a Stihl engineering meeting. Some dude said, hey, we should make a new switch. And the other one's like, why? We have a good switch, on and off. A lot of people use it, tried and true. We should keep it. That person is instantly fired as an example for everyone else. And in that example, they went to another person. Like, what do you think? They're like, we need to make multiple copies with small differences, lots of little tiny springs that wear out, small plastic pieces, over-engineer everything. That person is then promoted. Part number we actually need is 4737-182-1701, not 00. 01 has a little tab off the side, which activates the switch. Moving forward, let's give this a pull. We're on start. And I found the reason why there was no compression. Watch that video. It's a lot easier than you think, but it is something I see semi-commonly, so watch that. Shameless plug. But hey, it shuts off. This is a good used one. Not going to be too worried about it. Shuts off, runs fine. It goes back to normal position. Start position, no problem. You push the trigger, it goes to the normal position. I'm happy with the switch, even though, yeah, but it's good to go. So if you have a switch problem and either it's broken, not turning off, and you see some pieces in there, take a look at that part number. The other one, if you don't have that little mechanical switch in there, is what you need. With that, I'll catch you later. Have a good day. Definitely subscribe. Follow me on SmallEngine101 on Instagram. I'll see you in the next video, and have a good evening.